Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Thank you very much for joining us. This is yet another edition of the MedFiles program. I am your host, Marianne Waisha. Now, as usual, we as the MedFiles team have gathered a long list of questions which will be answered today by one Dr. Frederick Kimemia. He'll be talking to us about, some of the questions that have been posed to us today. We have questions of leg cramps. We have what seems to be an unending cold. I'm sure a lot of people can identify with that. So let's see what the questions we have from you today say. Daktari, first of all, I say karibu sana once again.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate your time to come and educate the Kenyans and make them a healthier nation.
I'm also excited to join you again.
All right.
Yes.
So I don't know whether we can take the very first one that we have,
Okay.
and then we can respond to it.
Okay.
All right, this is like you've had an elderly man who says he has leg cramps.
Yes.
And to quote, the keywords that he speaks, he says, mguu inaganda. Yes. So he gets leg cramps every so often, and especially when he walks. He says that there are times he has to go to town, he walks for a few minutes, and then it gets so bad that he has to sit down and rest.
Yes.
So the first thing that anybody would tell him is it's an age thing that happens with age. But well, he is elderly, but we still have, and we've still seen lots and lots of people a lot older than him who are fine, quite agile and quite able to walk long distances. So I don't know what you would make of this. Is it an age thing?
Thank you so much. Like you said, rightly said, it's very common for doctors but also not just doctors, but the community members and family members to ignore problems that come from older population that we have, especially men and women. Equally, we have had cases where diagnoses for older people are missed by the clinicians, just because they say, hiyo ni uzee. That's old age. And sometimes we say, ni kujifanya, or you're pretending. So, and we've seen a lot of cases with older people that are ignored, and especially related to musculoskeletal system. Musculoskeletal system, we mean the joints, the bones, and the muscles. And like in old age, those are some of the organs that start degenerating because of age. So once a citizen, and we call them honorable citizens, hits 60 years, senior citizens, hits 60, they have trouble with the joints and the muscles. And usually this is caused, the body, there's something we call body metabolism, Body metabolism is how the body is able to function, use the energy it gets from food and minerals and other nutrients to translate to movement. Movement of the body, movement of the muscles. And we've seen a lot of cases of imbalance, especially because of the nutrients they take. If someone is going through hard time eating the foods that are beneficial for the bones and the muscles, they will have problems. And usually some of these foods that supply muscles with the energy and electrolytes and minerals are the hard ones. You know, the hard ones that older citizens will not be able to take. What do they eat? We look at the food that older people eat, like mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes has a lot of some energy, but it doesn't have the minerals that we need. It doesn't have most of the electrolytes, and they rarely probably take fruits. Probably some bananas. Some bananas are easy for older people. Maybe mashed ones, but we've seen even inadequate intake of food.
They just do not take in sufficient quantities.
Quantities, not just the quality, but also the quantities of food that they take. So the crumbs, especially the leg crumbs, could be two things. One of the major problem we've seen are changes in the musculoskeletal structure,
which is age-related.
Which is age-related,
okay.
But it's made worse by the nutrients that they take. And usually what will specifically cause leg cramps are inadequate electrolytes. Electrolytes, we're talking of calcium, sodium, nitrates and minerals. So, but specifically magnesium and calcium. These are minerals that are very important for the bones and for the communication between bones now and the muscles. Because if one wants to move, there are two important activities that happen in the body. The body from the mind communicates to the muscle. And where are the muscles? Muscles are attached to the bones. So bones are the ones that are holding this person, but the muscles are the ones which are telling the bones, let's move. And you've even seen in games when the muscles have issues,
yes,
and then you get cramps, you're not able to move as fast.
So you're talking
and also just a little bit the communication between the brains and the muscles are triggered. The communication, they use electrolytes, and these are electrolytes I'm talking. It's just like electricity. If you don't have enough supply of electricity, you are going to have problems. The lights are going to go dim.
Yes.
You can't be able to walk. And we've seen a lot, especially with elderly or patients who are sick with other conditions, like they are chronically sick, they probably have cancer, and then they don't eat well. The musculoskeletal system doesn't work well. Yeah, so they will get cramps, sometimes even fatigue, extreme fatigue, weakness of the body, and you try chasing them, they can't even run. They can't even run. Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned that for when we talk about the elderly, like in this case, that a lot of the foods that have these nutrients that are required are the hard foods. So that
are the hard foods.
Foods that they would ordinarily avoid.
Yes.
What foods are you talking about?
We're talking about nuts, like the nuts that you get. They have a lot of, especially the groundnut. They call groundnut jugus. The jugus, the nuts, especially the nuts, have a lot of electrolytes and minerals. Minerals are the ones that are going to help the body to make the electrolytes. So it's you can't take electrolytes. It comes from the minerals that we take. The minerals that you take, the body uses that to generate electrolytes in the body. So the jugus, the hard foods are the groundnuts, the ones that we're calling jugus. We have maize itself. Maize
Oh,
has
maize.
a lot of minerals around, especially the coating, the coat, and that's why we say we advise even the citizens to try and use maize at ease and then take it to a mill so that it's crushed, because you have the outer coat that has good minerals. We have how many older people take githeri?
Of course,
Very few.
because if the teeth
The
again
teeth,
have
the
a
teeth are
problem,
out.
then you're
Yeah,
not able to
bananas. You know, like I was suggesting that it's advisable for an elderly person to take ripe ones. The ripe ones have
magnesium.
they have minerals enough for an older person. And ripe bananas are easy for older people
Yeah.
to take. So bananas are also known to help with the cramps and stuff, especially when they are ripe. We also recommend milk. And you see older people would probably prefer chai, tea,
Yes,
chai
yes.
with a lot of
Majani. Yeah.
and very little of milk. So milk is very good in supplying the body with electrolytes. Salt. What do we tell older people?
Not to
Salt
take
is not good.
because of I've had salt being avoided because of pressure or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yes.
So and then salt has sodium. It has sodium. It
Yes,
has
I mean.
iodine. It has also iodine.
Yes.
So iodine, if you deny them salt, then you deny them sodium, you deny them iodine, which are very important for bones and the nerves. Yeah. So we're advising older people to take those foods that are going to help them to have enough minerals,
Enough minerals.
so that the body can generate enough electrolytes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
enough energy.
Enough energy. Enough energy. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right,
because
because
this could
then
also be a problem of not having perhaps enough
yeah,
food.
and
Yes.
again, another most important thing, probably that I forgot to mention, is the muscle.
Yeah.
The muscle itself, the bulk of the muscle, is the one that generates energy, and older people have very sleek muscles. So, in terms of energy, in terms of even capacity to move, the muscles are not built up, because again, probably the fats are not there, the fibers are reduced because of old age, and we recommend that older people take enough of food, because we are not giving them enough. They take very little.
So yeah.
They take very little. They are supposed to have enough energy. The body needs to store some fat, some energy, and usually the body will leave that under the muscles and the fat tissue. They don't have enough of that.
They don't have. So ideally, they should eat sort of like the way young children eat, like small meals
Quantities, yeah, we
often.
say frequent quantities. They may not take a whole plate of
Or food
ugali
at once.
yeah, but they can take little by little in little bits quite often. Yeah,
Just
we
like
recommend
we
like every 2 hours.
2
they have
hours
something.
they should have something.
Yeah,
to
something
eat.
to bite, but also drink. Because again, if you leave them just to drink, and they drink majani and water, that's not enough for
not
the body.
much.
So they eat and drink.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, it's interesting. I hope those of us who take care of senior citizens have
Yeah.
taken up that.
Yeah, that's very important. Especially when you look at the laws of nature, is that maybe because of the things that have come in our society, we are moving to towns, and then older people are being left alone at home, and the only food they eat is probably what they grow. So us in the town are not sending some food to older people, but not just sending, but making sure that there's someone who is helping them eat, and that's where the blessing starts. We have to take care of our senior citizens. Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's see what was next. Okay, this is a father,
Mhm.
a concerned father,
Mhm.
who says his son is now in his second year of university.
Yes.
And he says, you know, my son has had what I understood to be like an unending cold,
Mm.
you know, symptoms that would appear quite basic, like a cold, because he
Mhm.
coughs, he
Mm.
sneezes, he has a
Mm.
running nose,
Mhm.
but it's been there since this son was
Mm.
in Form 4.
Form 4.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So just doing a basic count
Mm.
in our country, I mean,
Yeah.
one would finish fourth form
Yeah.
and wait for at least 1 or 2 years,
Yes.
then go into university.
Mm.
So if this young man has had this problem since he was in fourth form, so we take from Form 4, then maybe 2 years of waiting, and then first year, second year, he's now in second year. So we talk about 5 years,
Yes.
or 4 or 5 years of a cold that never seems to go away. Yeah, and this father says, you know, this young man has in these 5 years has lost a lot of weight. So he says his first thought was, okay, my son is HIV positive. So he took him for a test, and
It was negative.
he was found negative. So that's a mystery, you know. What would cause that seemingly unending cold?
Yeah, again, the basic thing here, I think the main complaints we're hearing from our viewer is cold, prolonged cold. And I think this is what we hear quite often. It's cold in the extremities, like hands and feet, or shivering, or general cold in the body. But I think I was able to pick up two main things that the father is saying the son is complaining of, the running nose and cough. And what in our society, if you're coughing for 4 years,
I mean, even coughing for 2 weeks, 3
2 weeks, then it's
that's
a problem.
that should
And
raise
it
questions.
shows that they have information that if you have had cough for more than 4 weeks, you need to have evaluation for tuberculosis, TB. But again, you can't have TB for 4 years and you're HIV negative and then you're still surviving.
Yes.
Yeah, it will kill you within a very short time, especially if your immunity is strong. And so I would rule out tuberculosis. So if I rule out tuberculosis, then the weight loss is not a big issue here. So we'll be dealing with cold, extreme cold, for 4 years, and running nose and cough.
Yes.
And I guess this is not that cough that is probably sickening, someone is producing sputum or stuff, probably mild, moderate cough for 5 years, running nose and then cold. There are major, like I would say, there could be two reasons as to why we've seen this young man in second year having this prolonged, and probably this is something we had in Nairobi. This is in Nairobi. Nairobi generally is cold. There are some episodes that you have warm environment, but it's warm weather, but it's not that hot. And again, there's a lot of pollution of environment. Now we have, if you go to downtown Kirinyaga or these other areas, the environment is not quite clean. We have a lot of pollution of the air. There's a lot of dust around. There are a lot of smells, and I would think, although we need to assess probably this child a little bit more, I would suggest the major complaint here, because it's chronic, it's been there for 4 years. It could be related to the environment or changes in the body. We've seen patients with prolonged cough having changes in their lungs, the way the respiratory tract system works. When there are cases where someone has a lung disease that changes the inside of the lung, so that anything, if you're exposed to dust, you're exposed to bad smells around, probably strong smells, the lungs react to, we call them allergens. The allergens are the things that makes the lung react. And I'm even thinking this client has lived within Nairobi. So as long as you keep living in the same area where you have the allergens, There's no
then
way
it never
you're going to
seems to
have
go
your
away.
cold cured. We've gone to an extent for severe cases to give drugs. But if you've been coughing and having running nose and cold for 4 years, that's not a case that we run to give just drugs. We will need to go and find out what is the main thing that pushes
What is-
this young man to have the cough and the running nose. And I guess this is related to the environment.
To the environment.
So once you remove him from the environment, usually things happen.
Something will.
But I keep on telling our clients, we can't keep on moving you. You can't
Yeah.
move from Nairobi because you have cold or
Yeah.
you have some allergen. You have to control it. We could control it. We have specific drugs that are given that have anti-allergy in them. So that
So what you're describing is an allergy to something.
yes,
in
this is what
young
I'm
man's
thinking. In this young
environment.
man life, it's
Okay.
and weight loss. It could be something different. We lose weight because of one or two other reasons, but
Yeah.
this is not related to cold and running nose and cough. And I assume he's eating well.
We assume.
Yeah, we assume that we have assumptions here. But weight loss, then you have cough and running nose, and then you've been tested for HIV and TB. You don't have those ones. Then we could say it's something that
It's
is
likely to be an
environment related. Environment related. And you know we have people who sleep in the same bed. They don't change their beddings.
Oh,
They don't
small
change their
things like
seats.
those
Small
could
things.
be the issue.
We even have patients who come. They tell us this problem started since I got a pet, and the pet could be a cat.
And it's like.
And it's like
That's
this,
the
so it
trigger.
doesn't. It's the trigger. So we would want to find out the environment, but also minimize the symptoms, the running nose and the cough and the cold. Hoping that with the change of environment,
Then we can identify.
then we can
a
identify.
trigger.
But it's good that this child and the father thought of TB and HIV because
Yes.
that's a common problem.
Yes.
And going for a test shows that the community is aware that any prolonged cough it's a problem.
Yes.
Yes.
It should raise eyebrows.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take the next one. Okay, this one is also makes me quite curious.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know whether it's one that perhaps would be answered better by a psychologist, psychiatrist. I've never quite got to understand
Yes.
the difference.
Yes.
But you are a general practitioner, so I guess you can respond to all of them. This is a case of like sudden temporary memory loss.
Yes.
A gentleman describes, repeated experiences with a specific friend of his who, I don't know whether they live together or live in the same area, or they'll be, running errands together in the city center, like most people would do. But this man, like, they would leave home knowing we're going to do X, Y,
Yes,
Z,
yes.
this is our agenda.
Yes.
But somehow along the way, he just suddenly loses all memory.
Yes.
Well, he's conscious,
Yes.
but he has no idea where they are. He has no idea why they're there or what they were doing. Just a total blackout.
Yes.
But he's awake.
Yes.
So he has to sit down
Yes.
and rest for a few minutes. And after that, then, he sort of regains, it's almost like he says, anatupa network,
Yes,
he's
yes,
just
yes.
off for a few minutes. And for those few minutes that he's off, he sweats profusely. And then, it all dies out and he's
Yes.
fine and life goes on. And he's fully aware of where they are and where they're going and what they're doing. I don't know.
Now, when I was when we had we saw when I saw the question, this is one classical condition that I don't even have to worry about because it's very clear by
see.
the signs, the signs that we are, signs and symptoms. Like you asked, you're never sure if is it a psychiatric case or is it a psychological,
Yeah.
but it isn't. If you have a problem that doesn't change your mental capability. Mental capability means you're a smartly well-dressed person in the society. You are probably working in a company, or you are a family man, you have your children, or you're a lady, you have kids, you're able to take care of the kids, and your capacity works well mentally. 27 days on 29 days in a month, and it's only one day that you have an episode like this, or probably 2 days in a month you have episodes like this. This doesn't change your psychological, psychiatric capacity. So this one, like you rightly said, it needs to be dealt with under a different form of practice we call neurology. It's a neurological problem. Neurological means nerves and the way the brain works. Maybe you've heard, or our viewers have heard of epilepsy. They have heard of seizures.
Seizures, yeah.
Seizures. So we have like 4 different kinds of seizures. Seizures. Those ones that patients will go to an extent that they are producing foam, they are unconscious for extended length of time. Extended time could be like even 30 minutes. Some even go for 1 hour maximum we've seen. So those are the worst, the worst of neurological problems. But we have people, like normal people, generally normal people in our society, that have episodes of memory loss and some confusion that last a very short time, and it could be accompanied by sweating, or sometimes even they may produce some sounds, like you're with them and they are not shouting, but